Hey guys, this is Jamie. Before I start, my dog decided to be nice to me and scratched me. So we'll start with that. Uh, so today I want to talk about specifically the topic of people disclosing being trans. And there has been a sort of recent surge of, well, trans people, trans men specifically, like in online spaces, which really brag about staying stealth. And there's nothing wrong with being stealth. Like, I personally am stealth to quite a number of people. I just feel like if it's not a discussion that I just feel like it's not a relevant discussion unless I'm mentioning something medical, which I don't mind talking about, and if it's something that contributes, or I want to be closer, so I can talk to people about surgeries, about different changes, and etc. So obviously, as time passes, I have less needs to tell people about being trans. But regardless, when it comes to, for instance, a sort of formal setting where I'm obviously talking about trans issues, I do talk to people that I'm trans. I raise awareness. I'm an activist. So it's sort of, obviously, I work in places where I don't talk about being trans, or if it's a work thing where I will be raising awareness, then obviously I disclose it. But it's just as I would disclose to someone about being bipolar. If there is a need or I feel like it contributes, then I do discuss it. So I do feel very strange, factually, about. I understand that everyone has their decision, their own point of view, whether they want to disclose to people or not. But when it comes to, I feel, family and specifically like having children, I have very strong unpopular opinions. Like, for instance, I don't understand certain things like people's obsession with giving birth, regardless if it's a trans person who feels like they want to impregnate someone or give birth themselves. Like, this is just something that I never really understood, and I've always been sort of very opinionated on adopting kids if you were to proceed with it. So I don't understand sort of the obsession, and because I come from a very strict Eastern European background where I was really kind of forced into this idea that you need to give birth, you need to sort of accept this as a role. This was very difficult for me to sort of. I had fights with because I wouldn't want it, I would openly say that, and I'd be forced, for instance, to give up contraception because it was messing with my body, but I just didn't care because I just wanted to get rid of it. Um, so yeah, and that was like before I went on hormones, so it was a very difficult time for me. But I do feel like if you decide to have children, to me, it's a very difficult decision, and that is something that I've thought about through my life. Like, uh, I eventually want to adopt with my partner, but obviously it's still like, will I have the mental health for it? I really want to be very prepared, and being well, I nearly have my license, so being a developmental psychologist and being in education and everything kind of really makes me more aware of the upbringing and stuff, and specifically because I have an interest and I work in attachments and stuff. So it's very important, and I understand that I'm more harsh. And when it came to my upbringing, I had very strong, like, actually, I was very, I really admired my granddad. Uh, I was also close, like, with my dad's growing up, and in general, father figures were, or grandfather figures and male figures were very important, and I have my sort of issues with the divorce, but until then, it was, I'd say it was more positive. So I kind of have a specific sort of, I guess, desire to be the best dad that I can be. So, sort of, to see people who, in my opinion, I, how to put this softly, I just feel like in our world where we have so many children in orphanages, I feel like it's wrong to give birth to more, and specifically when there are so many kids in need, and it doesn't matter if the kid is your own blood or not, factually, in my opinion. So I see it as an act of selfishness. Like, if you were to sit me down and ask me, that is how I see it personally. I will judge you silently, factually. I just do not understand it. On a personal, sort of like serious, stripped down, talk to someone level. I will emphasize, okay, like, you want to do it, you want to do it with your partner, blah blah blah. But I personally, I do not get it. So that's sort of like the backstory, and then obviously the topic of the day is the fact that trans people do not want to disclose to their children that they're trans. I do understand, for instance, a situation where you do not want to tell your kid, let's say, right away, or like you want the kid to have a more understanding, or maybe like when they will ask you, like, about certain, like, how do you identify, or like how is your childhood, when the kid can talk actually. It's not like you'll be telling a newborn baby who cannot speak, um, or a baby which is still learning words, like, you're trans. I understand that the baby will not understand. So I do understand, sort of, maybe like waiting a few years, or maybe you want to wait after kindergarten, towards the last years of kindergarten. So I do not understand the desire, because I saw this post going on Reddit, which was saying that this trans guy didn't want to tell his children that he's trans, and it really got on my nerves, actually, because, and then there, he had a question thrown at him, if he would say, what if your child comes out to you as trans, would you tell them that you're trans? And he said no. And that's what I found really bizarre, because as trans people, we need representation, and to look up to someone is very important. So I find that absolutely bizarre. And my own partner put it very well. It's, how selfish do you have to be that in this case you're not helping your child? And there is no better way to put it, factually, in my opinion. And I understand that I have sort of very strict ideas on, like, I do not understand birthing, I do not understand surrogates, I do not understand people's desire to reproduce on an ethical level. I just feel like the world is way too fucked. There are too many children which need help, and which you can raise as your own. And instead, you're saying that, oh, my sperm, my egg deserves more. And I also have, like, very strong feelings on abortion. The fact that I feel like everyone should have the access. And I find it, frankly, horrendously backwards to be against abortion. I cannot emphasize how atrocious I think it is to be against abortion. So I do have sort of very strict opinions, and I do understand that. And I have been very outspoken in the past. I have been outspoken to people about it. So when I see things like, so there is someone already obviously admitting that they are going through conceiving and stuff, and then it's like, then they're lying. It's like you're just having children for your own selfish reasons at this point. And I really feel like, in general, I find it, I guess, unfair that when it comes to adoption, there is so many hurdles to go through, and people get assessed. While when it comes to birthing, anyone can fucking do it factually. And we live in a world where people would rather, how to put this, be strict on people who adopt rather than people who birth. And in general, there has been a massive sort of anti-adoption movement, which I do understand that if someone has bad experiences, or racism, or homophobia, or sexual assault, domestic abuse in their adopted family, they need to speak about it, obviously. But saying that it's wrong, or wishing that their parents didn't give them away, or having sort of, there was, for instance, a woman which was frankly quite racist and sort of wants to be integrated back into a more racist society, and that just felt very strange to me. And I have sort of been fighting people online. One of the things that I frankly do not agree with, that I understand that people have negative experiences, but maybe in a way, like, I don't really get along with my birth parents at this point, or my parents, actually, my only parents. So I do understand sort of being against something, but obviously there are ethical issues on being against different reasons, and maybe there is an ethical issue of, or an ethical explanation, which probably might make sense to me at some point, about having your own blood children, but at this point I don't have it. So I do understand that maybe I'm being a bit harsh on someone who's against adoption, while I have a bad relationship with my parents. But at the end of the day, if someone wants to adopt, I don't think it's a bad reason. And yes, uh, I do think sometimes adoption can be too strict, or sometimes parents can be refused. But I don't think people should be against adoption. And I do understand that obviously there are adoption situations which are difficult, and I'm not denying that. But I do find it a bit strange. But I guess there's certain things that I won't understand at the end of the day. Just like people might not understand my views. And I'm sorry this ended up really going elsewhere. So I guess this video is more about babies. And in general, this whole sort of structures around having children. So yeah. Anyway, I am so sorry I went elsewhere. So what I'm trying to say is that just think ahead before you have a child. Think ethically if you're doing it for yourself, or if you're doing it to provide this life a good life as well. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the matter. Again, I'm really sorry that I went off. If you enjoyed this very bizarre video, which went off the rails because I'm depressed, please feel free to like. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to share it with your friends. Um, get some discussion going. Find weird people to punch. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to leave a comment. I appreciate all the subscriptions, I appreciate all the love, and I will try not to go to weird places next time. Thank you very much.